Welcome to the DeFi Standard, and this is Mickey B. Fresh. Today's video, crushing FUD about the Flare networks with facts. So to give a background of today's video, we received an email at the DeFi Standard from some anonymous person, and I do not want to name their name, but they asked some very interesting questions. Also, they didn't really understand the Flare networks, and that's okay, but I would like to break down this email in the video today to help everyone understand some of the misconceptions about the Flare network and how it is different specifically from Ethereum and other dApp networks like Uniswap. Now, the Flare networks is a utility fork of the XRP ledger. It's its own blockchain with its own consensus. It is separate from Flare Finance, which is a DeFi dApp ecosystem built on top of the Flare networks. So that's very important to understand that Flare network is like Ethereum, as in it's its own smart contract platform. Now, I understand that there's a lot of information to unpack with the Flare network and also with Flare Finance. But right now, we're going to focus on Flare networks in this video, and we're going to break down this email with facts to crush some of the FUD that's out there and also answer some of the questions that this person had. And now here's the email right here. We're going to go through it step by step. So I appreciate this person who sent the email to us and their concerns, and we are going to address them in this video. So we start off by, I have a few hard questions that I think you should know the answers to. Could you be so kindly to answer these for me? Now, before I answer any of these, this is not financial advice, and I am not paid by Flare or by Flare Finance or marketer. My advice is just my opinion. It's not advice. It's just my opinion. Just to clear the air with that. So, first question is, how is Flare different than Uniswap? Not taking into account the fee differences. So, here's the number one difference is Flare Networks is its own blockchain. Just how Ethereum has its own blockchain, Flare Network is its own blockchain. Uniswap is not a blockchain. Uniswap is a decentralized application built on top of Ethereum. It uses Ethereum's consensus and security. Flare Network has its own consensus and its own security. Flare Finance has a product called Flare X, which is similar to Uniswap, which is a decentralized exchange. And it seems like this person is kind of confused between Flare Networks and Flare Finance, and that's understandable because they do have very similar names, but they are also very different. So Uniswap is a decentralized exchange built on Ethereum. Flare Networks is its own blockchain. Now on to the second question. Did you know that the Oracle of Uniswap is also decentralized like Flare? Yes, I did know that. But there is a key difference between the Oracle system on Uniswap and the Oracle system on Flare. The Flare time series Oracle is built into the infrastructure of the layer 1 Flare networks. So it replaces the mining for proof of work on, say, Ethereum. So the price feeds that are sent to the Flare time series Oracle, the accurate price feeds are rewarded. So the rewarding mechanism on the Flare networks rewards the signal providers for the best price feeds, where Uniswap does not have its own blockchain. It's just a decentralized application, which is a decentralized exchange, which has its own oracles, and it has, I don't think I would call it completely decentralized because it's not its own blockchain. So it's not built into the layer 1 aspect. And Vitalik Buterin has even said the Oracle problem has not been solved. and Uniswap has not solved it. It's also just using ERC20 tokens for the most part in their decentralized exchange. Flare Networks is pulling price feeds in from Litecoin, from Stellar, from Doge, from XRP, and pairing them with Spark. So now you're going outside of the Flare network to get these price feeds, where Uniswap is predominantly only dealing with other ERC20 tokens. And that is a big difference from those two right there. Now let's move on to the third question. Why is nobody talking about the fiasco of a launch they had? Well, there has been no launch. So that question really doesn't really make sense, because Flare Networks is not live and it doesn't launch until Q2, which is going to be May or June. Flare Finance has not launched either, because it can't launch until Flare Networks goes live, which is a month after Flare Network goes live. So there's no fiasco there. Now, fourth, how much are you getting paid for being an influencer? Getting paid zero, because I am not working for either Flare Finance or Flare Networks. On to 5. Why does everybody think Flare is a huge thing? If I look at the facts, it just seems like a copy of Uniswap with some features, Avalanche and WanSwap. Well, it is a huge thing because they built a decentralized Oracle system into the layer 1 of the blockchain. So now we're bringing decentralized data onto the layer 1 of the blockchain. So every smart contract and application that is built on the Flare network can interact with the Flare time series Oracle. Not just one dApp like Uniswap, which is built just for itself and its own oracles just for its own DEX. Flare network time series Oracle could handle hundreds of different applications that could tap into it in real time. So the Flare time series Oracle can provide temperature feeds, price feeds from stock markets. Any type of data provisioning is built into the actual blockchain, and it has its own consensus. Uniswap does not have its own consensus. It piggybacks off the top of the Ethereum network, which has enormous gas fees. And now we all know the gas fees on Ethereum are outrageous. That is not going to be a problem on the Flare networks. The gas fees are set by governance, and they are extremely, extremely low. So now let's move on to the second section of the email. Let me give you a list of the things that already exist. Wrap tokens, yes, they exist. Flare Wrap, which is part of Flare Finance, is going to allow ERC20 tokens to come over. But what the difference is FAssets are not just wrapped tokens. So when you're bringing over your FXRP or your FXLM or FDoge or FLitecoin, that is truly trustless. You're not just trusting that the asset is wrapped and held on the XRP ledger. Their Flare Networks uses Spark as collateral, as an extra failsafe to make it truly trustless, so that these FAssets can always be redeemed no matter what. If that XRP disappeared for whatever reason on the ledger, you'll always be getting the value of that XRP plus compensation no matter what. And that's what truly trustless means. So it is very different from wrapped Bitcoin on Ethereum. And you also get rewards with your FAssets daily. And now decentralized oracles, that has not existed on the blockchain infrastructure layer. Yes, there's things like Chainlink or Uniswap, but those are at the layer 2. They're not built into the actual infrastructure layer, where the Oracle system actually replaces mining, and it replaces proof of stake rewards, to where it's rewarding those who provide accurate price feeds, and all Spark owners are able to participate and earn by delegating their FTSO votes to a signal provider at no risk. Very important here. Unlike staking, where there is risk of slashing and other issues, and you're relinquishing the actual ownership of your token. On Flare, there's no risk to delegating your FTSO vote, and you could delegate to multiple providers and you still earn the rewards. And now this helps bring in those accurate price feeds. So it's built into the infrastructure. Very different from at the DApp level, which would be like the layer 2. And now rewards tokens. We just talked about that, but let's actually dig into that some more. So miners in proof of work earn rewards. Those are the only ones who are earning rewards in the native token. In proof of stake, the validators earn block rewards. They and those who delegate their actual native tokens are the only ones earning the actual native token. In Flare, the native token of the blockchain is Spark. Now you earn Spark by delegating your vote. So the whole Flare time series oracle replaces mining and replaces proof of stake rewards with a completely different reward system and incentive mechanism. And this is what is game changing compared to those other networks. And this is possible because Spark is not needed to secure the network consensus. It doesn't use proof of stake and it doesn't use proof of work. Very important to understand that. And now we got providing liquidity. That we have the two-way bridge from the Flare network to the XRP Ledger's DEX. And XRP Ledger's DEX is built on layer 1 at the infrastructure layer. All those assets that are issued on Flare network, say it be FXLM, say it be FLTC, FDoge, any of those, or even other issued FLR20 tokens could all come over to the XRP Ledger. Anything issued on Flare could come over onto the XRP Ledger's DEX. Now, what I think this person is confusing is Flare Finance with some things of Flare Network. Flare Finance has Flare X, which is the Uniswap competitor in a way, without the gas fees. But that's just like one application of the 6 that Flare Finance is building, and Flare Finance is only one application ecosystem of hundreds that will develop on Flare Network. So there's really not a comparison between Uniswap and Flare networks. So now next, loaning, mining, mutuals. Yes, that all has to do with Flare Finance. Now using the EVM. Now what they mean by EVM is Ethereum Virtual Machine. So that means that any Ethereum smart contract can be replicated on Flare Network. Any application, any product, any smart contract can be built on Flare. So there's nothing that Ethereum smart contracts could do that won't be done on Flare. Actually, more things could be done on Flare networks because you don't have to deal with the high gas fees and you don't have to deal with the delayed settlement. Everything's going to settle instantly within seconds on the Flare network, where on Ethereum, it's delayed settlement, a couple minutes, and that allows for front running. Also, the miners dictate the gas fees, where on Flare, the governance dictates the gas fees, and they're set by the Spark owners. So moving on. One thing I see them do, what is great, is adding the big coins first, XLM, but that only gives them an advantage in swapping. Now, that is not true. By adding these other assets like XLM, Litecoin, Doge, XRP, these are FAssets coming over. They're not being brought over by Flare Finance. They're part of the Flare network. Now, everyone who brings over their FAsset version is going to earn daily rewards in Spark. Think of it like daily airdrops. So we'll get to that in the next part here, where he asked a question about that. If you ask me, all of this is being hyped and there is no innovation. Nothing special behind it. People who have had XRP got overexcited because of the drop. They are the ones who are now pumping all of this, and that is this. It's a bubble. Well, first thing here is it's not a bubble because it doesn't exist yet. And it's not just the XRP holders who are getting the benefits here. Yes, XRP owners are getting the initial allocation of Spark, but any of these other crypto assets brought over, like Doge, XLM, and Litecoin, all are going to be able to earn daily Spark airdrops for just bringing their assets onto Flare Network, and they still have possession of them. Or they could use them simultaneously in applications and still earn those daily rewards. So it is not just for XRP. And there is hype because this is a revolutionary design of a blockchain. They've removed proof of stake, removed mining, and now allow the incentive mechanism to be a time series oracle. So it allows everyone on the network to earn the native token rewards at the infrastructure level, where Uniswap is at the second layer, is a decentralized application. It doesn't have its own security. It uses Ethereum for that at the lower layer. Nobody could earn Ethereum unless you're a miner. Now, on the Flare network, everyone can earn Spark by just delegating their vote or providing a accurate price feed. So this is a huge difference from proof of work and proof of stake. You don't have to physically relinquish the possession of your token. You can own your native asset. So you have to think of Spark as the native asset of the Flare network. There'll be other tokens like YFlare, YFin, YMIN. Those are part of the Flare Finance dApp ecosystem, which is separate but built on top of the Flare network. Very important to understand that there are two different things. They share similar names, but they are not the same. One is built on top of the other. Now, he says here, how many alternatives to Uniswap I can name right now? And nothing has the volume of liquidity that Uniswap has. And he's correct. Now, we're starting to see other Uniswap-like products come along, like Pancake on Binance Chain. Basically, what Uniswap is just a decentralized exchange that allows you to swap from one asset to another. Flare X, which is part of Flare Finance, is going to be the competition for Uniswap, and it won't have the gas fees, and it will allow you to bring over ERC20s through Flare Wrap. But that is not Flare Network. Flare Network is the underlying blockchain like Ethereum. So I think this person just had it confused on what Flare Finance is and what Flare Networks is. And I hope I'm doing a good job explaining it here. I know it's a lot to unpack, but they are totally different things. All right, let's move on. They only have to release V3, and Ethereum only has to switch to V2 and put the latest updates to the fee system, and I think they'll be back in business. Well, moving to Ethereum 2.0 is going to be a long transition, and it's going to take years to do, and there are other negative consequences of moving to proof of stake. Now you have to lock up all the native tokens of the network, which is going to compete with those applications on the network for yield. And that is one of the drawbacks of proof of stake. So as Ethereum is upgrading to 2.0, Flare Network is already at 3.0 and 4.0. So that's how you have to look at this. And Uniswap is just a dApp on top of the network. It's not its own blockchain. So it really should have a different metrics. It doesn't have its own security. It doesn't have its own consensus. It's simply just a decentralized exchange on top of Flare. The XRP ledger could do everything Uniswap does and even more in the future, and it's connected directly to the Flare networks with that two-way bridge. So that's really what you get with the Flare networks. You're getting all the power of the liquidity of the XRP ledger, its DEX, and then you're getting all the data provisioning of the Flare network, which allows all these FAssets to come over from other blockchains, unlocking billions in value. And you just can't do that on Ethereum or any of these other networks because they could bring them over trustlessly. So any of those, eventually when Bitcoin comes over as FBTC, we're talking billions and trillions of dollars in the future that's going to be able to come right onto the Flare network and then move right over to the XRP ledger too. So Flare network is not built on the XRP ledger. It's built besides the XRP ledger. It's a utility fork. So that's another thing important to remember. I've seen a lot of confusion on Twitter about, Flare being built on the XRP ledger. It's not built on it technically. It's next to it. And they have this two-way bridge that connects them. Liquidity network, data provisioning network. And you also got to keep in mind with Ethereum, all the founders of Ethereum, except Vitalik, have left Ethereum to go. Gavin Woods went to go build Polkadot. Charles Hoskinson went to go build Cardano. You got to wonder, why did they all leave if this 2.0 is going to be really the answer? Because I do not think it's going to be the answer. Now, that's my opinion, but we will see. And the transition is going to take a while, and it's going to come with other problems. So while all this transitioning is happening, the gas fees are just mounting, and Flare Network has the advantage over, say, Cardano, Polkadot, and the other ones because it uses the Ethereum virtual machine. So everyone's used to the Ethereum smart contracts. So all those dApps, all the designs of DeFi protocols can easily be brought over to the Flare network and created better. So Flare X, which is the competition for Uniswap, will be able to do everything Uniswap does with all these other assets like FLTC, FXLM, FXRP, and FDoge. You don't have those on Ethereum or on Uniswap. That's where the big value is in these native blockchain crypto assets. That's what Flare's looking to do. Take this to the next level, and it builds in the Oracle system so that decentralized applications like Flare X can be superior to things like the Uniswap. Yes, Uniswap has proven that decentralized exchanges can handle billions in volume. And Uniswap has actually had more volume than Coinbase has. An interesting tidbit I found in the Coinbase S1 filing is they mentioned one of the biggest risks to their business model is decentralized exchanges and DeFi, because Uniswap has proven that these liquidity pools and automated market makers can do everything that Coinbase could do except the fiat off-ramps. So this is something that is going to be built on all networks. So Uniswap doesn't have the future is not only Uniswap, just like the future isn't only Ethereum. You're going to see Flare X on Flare Network. The XRP Ledger's DEX, which has an order book built into it, and they could add an automated market maker object as an amendment to it to build it up even more. So decentralized exchanges typically don't have order books, but they can, and they will in the future. But the key point is the Oracle system. And now that was just added to Uniswap, and it is still being tested out. But it's built at the layer 2, where Flare Networks, everything is built at the infrastructure layer. So you're building something from the ground up the right way, and a revolutionary design, where everything on Ethereum is just a patchwork to fix the underlying flawed problems that it has. All right, let's move along here. I got a little carried away. All right, so he says, get this. You get huge amounts of Spark for free because you hold XRP. Then you see money everywhere on Flare, but if you did not get this, like most people, you are not interested because there are a lot of the same alternatives. So once again, he's just confusing it with Flare Finance. So like I said, anyone who has XLM, Litecoin, Doge, you're going to be able to still earn the daily rewards when you bring it over. And you don't have to use the Flare Finance DeFi ecosystem if you don't want to. You can still maintain possession of your asset and earn. So that's important to note. And then when you earn, you're going to be able to use that Spark to earn more rewards. So it's a compounding effect. And I know that concept is really going to be hard to really grasp, especially people in the Ethereum ecosystem and even XRP community. For me, it took a while. So don't be worried that maybe you don't get this right away. And I understand it's a lot to unpack, but we have a couple more months, and we're all going to work as a community to understand it. But there is a reason for the hype, because this is the purest form of a data provisioning network that's decentralized out the gate. So it bootstraps decentralization off of these other networks like Litecoin, XLM, Doge, XRP, because the validators are running on both networks, and then Avalanche right on top, which I'm not going to go into technical details, but you just need to know it's decentralized out of the gate, and the asset's going to be distributed out the gate to the whole XRP community, which is already distributed in, hundreds of countries into hundreds of thousands of wallets already. All right, so the final. Now they do a new drop for Spark holders, further hyping the already caught gamblers. Okay, so Flare Networks is not doing a new drop. It is Flare Finance who is doing a airdrop for Spark holders. Completely separate. That is a decentralized application and DeFi protocols that is going to be airdropping DFlare to Spark holders, which then they'll have 7 to 10 days to convert to YFlare using Flare X. But that's where this person, unfortunately, is conflating the two different things. We have Flare Network, Flare Finance. So it's not Flare Network that's doing a second drop. That's Flare Finance. And we see that all the time with Ethereum. Uniswap airdropped out to plenty of different other protocols. But Flare Networks themselves, there's only one airdrop. And it went to XRP. It's going to XRP holders. That's it. Everything else is applications or other things being built on the Flare network. It goes further hyping the already caught gamblers. So how can we be gambling if we're getting something for free? So I don't know where that comes from. And then XRP people, and they still have not reached the people who do not hold XRP at that time. But actually they did, because now by bringing over XLM, Doge, Litecoin, they all have the ability, when the network goes live, to earn daily rewards. Basically, like I said, you're going to be airdropped Spark. There is a general rewards pool made up of 25 to 30 billion Spark for Doge, XLM, and XRP. Litecoin has its own rewards pool. These are like mini escrows. That's what you think of them as. They're like escrows that algorithmically will airdrop you Spark for just owning the F version of that asset. So we could call it the flared version. So flared XLM or flared XRP. All right, and now moving on to the end here. He says growth will be minimal, just like the failed launch they had. So, like I said, there's no launch yet. Launch is in May or June. So growth will be actually massive because of the way of the design. But do you see how when you don't understand all the facts that it's easy to come to conclusions based on just what you want to believe off of little pieces of information and conflating them together? I don't think this person's intentions were malicious. I really think that they honestly, believe this and were looking out. And they even say here that this is my opinion. I ask these questions because I want to know. Perhaps I can learn from you and update my opinion. See, so I do appreciate this email. I mean, they asked questions based on what they thought they knew. I mean, but hopefully I did a good job explaining the differences here between Flare Finance and Flare X specifically, which is within the Flare Finance ecosystem. That's what's comparable to Uniswap. Only one component out of, Flare Network, Flare Finance, Flare X. So it's like 3 back. And that's not really a comparison to Flare Network. And that's why as a community, we need to make sure that the accurate information is passed along to everyone so that as new communities come in, they then get updated with new information. And, I missed one part here. He goes, this is not Ripple, big deal. You have said this is my job, Flare. Basically, you're their marketer, so it seems. No, I am not paid by Flare. I said this is my full-time job as a YouTuber, but no, this is not my job. I do not work for Flare. I do not work for Flare Finance. I said this is just my job as in a YouTuber full time. That's all. All right, just to make that clear once again, and this is not financial advice. So I hope everyone took away from this some information on what the differences are between Flare, Flare Finance, and then the individual Flare Finance products. We're going to see many applications built on the Flare networks. Flare Finance is just the first. We're going to see institutional grade products built because that's what Flare Networks is built for. It's built for institutional grade because value is not being used to secure the network like proof of stake and proof of work. That's why it has a tremendous advantage against those networks like Cardano, Cosmos, Ethereum 2.0, but it has the smart contracts of Ethereum. So what Flare Networks gives you is the best of everything with the low gas fees, and it solves the Oracle problem at the heart. Uniswap did not solve the Oracle problem because it's at the layer 2, and it's only for Ethereum tokens. The Oracle system built into the Flare network is a time series Oracle, and it can pull in data for temperature, for capital markets, stock prices. It could pull in data for everything. It's a data provisioning network at its core, and that's where the incentive mechanisms are built from for providing those accurate price feeds. You just can't do that on proof of stake networks or proof of work. So that's why this is revolutionary, because they were able to take Federated Byzantine Agreement, which is like Stellar and the XRP Ledger, put Avalanche on top, and then create a rewards incentive mechanism to reward accurate price feeds. And that's going to go a long way in the future where you don't need patchwork systems like Chainlink or Bant. Those are great, and they can be actually utilized by the signal providers for the Flare network to send into the Flare time series Oracle. But they still got to go through the time series Oracle, which will always filter out the most accurate price feeds. So nobody can game the system, and you don't have to deal with blocks, delayed, and flash loans. Some of those issues will be removed on the Flare network because of its superior infrastructure. And like we've known with XRP, how XRP Ledger is so fast and the fees are so low and it can scale to thousands of transactions, Flare is going to be able to scale to thousands of transactions as well. It's going to be able to settle within seconds. So it's going to have all those capabilities of the XRP Ledger along with the data provisioning. But the XRP Ledger still has its decentralized exchange built into it at the core. And that is still superior than anything that Uniswap could build. It just hasn't been utilized to its fullest functionality yet. But we will see that in the future because it is the liquidity network and Flare is the data provisioning network. And I'm Mickey B. Fresh, and I'm out.